Hello, my friends. Welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. This is Jennifer. Well, guys, I am standing outside today in my backyard with my glasses fogging up because it just stopped raining and it's super humid, but it is because I wanted you to see this quilt in the glorious daylight. June of 2024, I upgraded my embroidery machine. I'd had the same machine for about 9 years. It was a Brother PE 770, which was a very basic 5x7 hoop for machine embroidery. Absolutely wonderful machine. I loved it. There is a modern version of that machine still available. It's still a great machine, still a great size. But I had plans, like big plans. I knew I was going to be working on the bookcase quilts, and I had a bunch of other machine embroidery things I wanted to do. And I really wanted a machine with a free arm, so I upgraded to a PR1X, which is a really big embroidery machine. It has an 8x12 hoop, has its own stand. It is serious business. It's basically a step down from a multi-needle. It's the same machine shape and everything, but it only has one needle, and I love it. The reason I'm telling you guys this is because when I first got it, I was just trying to learn to use the machine, and one of the first things that I did was play with an embroidery set of Sashiko patterns that I have, which I cannot remember where they came from off the top of my head. I will put that here so you guys can see it, and I'll put a link in the description. So this set is called Sashiko Reflections, and I just pulled out a bunch of navy blues from my stash, and I stitched out all of these beautiful designs from that set, and that was really just me getting to know my machine. So not long after I stitched all of these out, I turned them into a quilt top. And at the time, I wasn't sure if they would be for a gift or for myself. I did not have any kind of pattern when I made this quilt top, so it was just squares with one triangle on each diagonal corner. So fast forward a year later, and I have a really good friend whose birthday is coming up, and she loves Sashiko, and I have never made her a quilt. I've made her a lot of little things. I even crocheted an Afghan for her years ago before I was really quilting. So I decided to turn this quilt top into a quilt for her, and I have now done that. So last week I loaded it up on my frame, and I did what I think of as like a ribbon quilting, which is a big meander that I then go back and I follow that line and I do like a loopy meander along the meander, which kind of gives it sort of a ribbon effect. The back of the quilt has this really fun bead fabric that I believe was a gift from our very own Sarah in Houston. She hasn't posted a video in a very long time, but if she's watching, Sarah, thank you for that. So I used that for the back, and I used it for the binding, and honestly guys, I'm just so happy with the way this came out, and I'm really excited to be able to give this quilt to my friend who I've never made a quilt for. I mentioned to you guys last week that I was going to quilt a couple of charity quilts and send those back to Jules, and I did get those quilted. I'm going to share those with you now while I chat a little bit about them. So both of these quilt tops were sent to me ages ago. One of them came from Lynn Atkinson, one of them came from Sarah in Houston. So Lynn's is the pineapple and Sarah's is the more scrappy quilt. I don't actually know what that pattern is. I'm not looking at it right now, so I don't remember specifically what it looks like, but it's like a sort of a red, white, and blue. For each of those, I just did a meander because it's more important that those are done than they are super fancy, because they have just been waiting a very long time to get finished. They sent those to me, and then I got overwhelmed. So Jules took a couple, and then she got a little bit overwhelmed. So I took them back and I quilted those, and now I'm going to send them back to her, and they will go to Project Linus in Albuquerque. I had a little bit of a crazy end of the week last week, so I did not end up stitching together the backing fabric for the t-shirt quilt, so I'm hoping to get to that. This was all done by like Wednesday or Thursday, and then I did not have the chance or the ability to do anything else after that. I actually pulled a muscle in my leg last week. If you guys have been around for a while, you already know that I have some issues with my feet, and I do have some mobility issues that is just the culmination of a number of things, including a bunch of surgeries. So this was a new one, but I'm assuming it was related, and it just had me off my feet for a few days. So I didn't do anything except for work on Fandom and stitches, and I worked on Sew Hooked a little bit. So we do have a Gilmore Girls quilt along coming up later in August on Fandom and stitches, designed by Roxanne Ludwig. So I'm really excited about that. And then I have been digging through my own personal archives of my own patterns that I have made but never released as patterns. So some of those are starting to hit Fandom and Stitches. Right now I'm doing space swears, which are just fictional space swear words from different franchises. So like Battlestar Galactica and Farscape and Red Dwarf, that kind of thing. I only have those three right now because I made a quilt like 5 or 6 years ago using those, and I never shared them. So I'm sharing those now. So those will be on Fandom and Stitches. And then again, look for Gilmore Girls coming up soon. And that is going to be it for me this week, my friends. I hope to have you a t-shirt quilt to show you guys next week because I'd love to be finished with that project. I hope you have a lovely week. I hope you have a crafty week. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.